Happy Friday and welcome to Stampin' Peace with Mary Knabe. I'm excited to show you two cards today, and both are using the Sun Prints 12 by 12 DSP from our new annual catalog, as well as the coordinating bundle called Nature's Prints. As you know, that DSP has lots of blues in it, but today I'm going to be focusing on some of the sheets that are gray granite and white. And we'll be doing some heat embossing, some die cutting, lots of things happening on these two cards. So I'm going to flip my camera around, and I'm all ready to start in with today's cards. So while I'm flipping my camera, would you please be so kind as to share this live video and invite others to join us this afternoon? I do want to show you, first of all, where you can find all the Sun Prints products. They are on pages 90 and 91 of our new annual catalog. And as I said, there's lots of blues in this DSP: Pacific Point, Night of Navy, Starry Sky, one of our new in colors. But another color in there is the gray granite. So today I'm using some of the prints that use that gray granite. We're going to make two different cards, but with the same basic products. And I'll start by showing you one card and then showing you how to make it. And then I'll introduce you to the second card that we're going to make. So here's the first one. You know, with the exception of white, we've got a lot of tone on tone going on here. But it's just a really nice card that has sort of a subtle but simple and elegant look. So let me show you right now how to make this. I went ahead and pre-cut most of the products, most of the papers and cardstocks that I'm using. And the first piece I'm going to be using, I'm actually going to die cut. Let me move this up. I probably should be using my large Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This paper is wide enough to fit into the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, but it is a little bit wider than the plates going through. So if I hadn't already pulled this out, I would say let's use the other one, but I'm going with this time. So this piece of Designer Series paper measures 5 inches by 3 3/4. So here's the front side that I'll be using, and that shows the back of it. But 5 by 3 3/4. And I want to put this die right in the center. And this die is not part of the Nature's Prints bundle. It comes from the painted labels. This goes with the Painted Poppy stamp set, but I'm using this one particular die from the Painted Labels die collection. This collection did carry over, so you'll find it in our new annual catalog as well. And I just want it centered on that piece of DSP. And while I'm doing that, I did die cut already one of these leafy branches from the vellum, but I need 2 more. And in the Nature's Prints bundle, there are many dies that coordinate with the stamps, but then there are some extras that are just really meant to enhance the stamps and the coordinating dies that are already there. So these coordinate, but don't have a stamped image to go with it. And I'm actually using some of the plain vellum from the Lovely Labels vellum pack. Did anybody get that? The Lovely Labels vellum pack? I think I've shown it to you a couple of times. But you get a stack of 60. 40 of them are plain sheets, cut 5 by 3 3/4. And then there are some various different prints. And I believe there's 5 of each of those. 5 of 4 different designs. Where's the 4th one? It's a circle thing. Okay, so you get a nice variety, 60 in all, but I like those smaller pieces of vellum because I use them a lot as layers on my cards, or I can cut them smaller and use them for the small die cutting pieces without having a lot of waste that I get from the larger sheets. So now I'm ready to pull out all of my other pieces. I'm working with gray granite cardstock. So I've cut my base 5.5 by 8.5 inches, scored at 4 1/4 inch on the long side. For the inside, I'm putting a piece of basic white, which measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. Of course, all of these measurements will be on my blog when I post these cards to the blog in a few days. Now on the front, I've got another layer of white, but it's a different size. This measures 5 3/8 inch by 4 1/8. I just wanted a very small border of that gray granite card base showing. And then I've got this print. I think you can see this pretty well on the screen, but it's got some script in there, just very subtle script. Can't even read it. I don't know what it says. And then the splotchy, almost sponge look of the gray granite. And this piece measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So now I want to work with this frame I made. Let me pull this down just a little bit closer for you. So I'm going to work with this frame part. Do not get rid of this because I'm using this for the second card. So that's something we do need for our second card. Now the first thing I'm going to do is just lay this here. And I'm going to put just the slightest little bit of adhesive on it. Can you see how little that is? The nice thing about the Stampin' Seal Plus is, let me see if I can put it on, maybe on some black and you'll be able to see it. The nice thing about the Stampin' Seal Plus, it's actually all these tiny little pieces of adhesive. So there's a cut between each of those tiny little pieces. So that allows me to put on just the tiniest bit of adhesive. And the reason for that is I later am going to pop up this layer on dimensionals. But for now, I just want it in place. I don't want it on dimensionals yet because I'm going to do some stamping on the inside. So I'm going to stamp with gray granite ink, and I've chosen the Hello There sentiment from the Nature's Prints stamp set bundle. I'll pull this just a little bit closer to me to do the stamping. Oh, good, and it's pretty straight too. That always makes me happy when it's straight. All right, so now I'm going to do some heat embossing. So I've got this stem of different foliage, and I'm going to ink this up with Versamark ink. First, I'm going to use my embossing buddy to get rid of the static on my cardstock. Since I'm going to be using that embossing powder, I'm going to bring in some scrap paper. Actually, let me, oh, it's the last one on the sheet. Okay, or on the pad. So let me bring that in, go over this with my embossing buddy. We don't sell this anymore, but I'm going to give you a little hint that you may be seeing one of these in a future catalog. Okay. The 2022 incentive trip achievers got to take a look at the upcoming July to December catalog and new celebration brochure. So I can tell you that that is in there as part of a bundle. And that just gets rid of the static on the paper or the cardstock so that the embossing powder only sticks to the Versamark ink and not any places on the cardstock that you don't want it. And then I'm going to, let me move this. You never want to turn on your heat tool when you've got the embossing powder sitting out on your scrap paper or the open container, because while the heat tool blows air, hot air gently, it will blow that embossing powder, that excess embossing powder around. So always move that out of the way before you turn on your heat tool. And in a few seconds, like now, we'll start to see that embossing powder melt. I love heat embossing. It always feels like magic. It's the only kind of magic I can do. Isn't that fun? I never get tired of that. Never get tired of heat embossing. So now I'm going to cut this out. And this bundle is so wonderful. Where did I put it? Because it has this wonderful die to coordinate with this particular stamp. And because there are so many different parts of this extending out, I'm going to use a bit of washi tape to hold my die in place. One tip when you're using washi tape, make sure that you have it on like the outer edges of the die and the paper. You don't really want to going it right over your stamped image, because when you lift that washi tape, there is a possibility that it can rip your stamped image, depending on how sticky that tape is or not. So just a little precaution you can take. And then this will pop out really nicely. I'll pull that. There are a couple little pieces that you want to make sure are popped out. And this is what we have. Okay. So now I want to just lay these 3 vellum branches out. And I'm actually going to put some adhesive on the back here, because I want to pick up, to me, this is the easiest way to pick up those small vellum pieces on this really detailed stamped and embossed image. If you've got any of that adhesive hanging over, just take your pick tool, the piercing end of your take your pick tool to press them back. And I think that's good. I think I got it all. So now I'm just going to decide where I want this, and then I just gently lay that on top and pick it up. Do you see that? Now I want the second one here. I think I'm going to put this one a little higher. And then my third one. Just like that. Simple and easy, right? So now I'm ready to add this to my card front. But remember, I told you after I stamp, I'm going to pick up this frame because I want this to be lifted up on dimensionals. So I'll do that now. So do you understand now why I had just the tiniest bit of adhesive on that frame? Because I wanted to be able to pull it right up. I agree, Lori, I agree. Isn't gray granite a fabulous color? Actually, I think I should hold it up to my wall color someday down here because it's very similar. But it's just a really nice neutral. And the great thing about it is it works. I'm going to put a couple more dimensionals on because this piece is kind of large. It works well with so many different tones. It works well with blues, with the reds, with many of the greens, the browns, the grays. You can pretty much use it with just about any color that we have in our Stampin' Up! Collection. And then I'm just going to center this on my card front. I'm going to check it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So I'll smooth that over. And then I'm ready to add this. Now, I do want to pop this up on dimensionals, but one thing to keep in mind is if I pop it up on dimensionals on this side, on the actual frame, then keep in mind that the frame is already lifted with one layer of dimensionals. So I might want to add a double layer of dimensionals on the right side of this. I'll show you what I mean here. So on the left side, I'll just put a couple of these mini dimensionals where they will be hidden. Let me double check that. Yep. And then over here, I'm actually going to put one, whoops. Oh, that's probably okay. I'm going to put one dimensional on, remove the backing. It doesn't want to leave. It wants to stick. There we go. And then I'm going to take another dimensional and put it right on top of there. So now I have that second layer on just that one side. Oops, come on. These. Let me pull off these other backings and then I'll show you what it looks like. So on these two, it's a single layer of dimensionals to go on top of the frame. The frame's already lifted up on a dimensional. So to even this out, I've put a double dimensional, two stacked, one on top of the other, on that part that is sitting on the inside of the frame. And I'm going to lay it down just like that. Oops, I want to go a little, well, do I want to go a little higher? I think so. There. So now this lays flat. Okay, it's all even. It's not that big of a deal, but if you're really detail oriented and you think something like that would bother you, that's how to take care of that height difference is to stack 2 dimensionals. And finally, what did I do with my, oh, here they are. And finally, I chose to embellish with the Rustic metallic dots. I feel like this is a good look to go with the gray granite color. So I'm going to do a large and 2 smalls. What do you think? Pretty sweet and elegant, right? And it's really probably easier than you think it was going to be, right? So now, so I've got my sample and the one I just made with you. And you can see I have my vellum placed a little differently. And it's okay if that vellum extends beyond the frame on the left side, because you still have a 1/4 inch, actually a little more than a 1/4 inch, or about a 1/4 inch. I can't remember what the measurement is to the fold. So it'll still fit in your envelope really nicely. Now I told you that we would be using that inside piece that we die cut. So we're using both the positive and the negative piece to create 2 cards. So here is the second card. Okay, lots of layers, but again, kind of just a simple, subtle, elegant look to it, right? So let's put this together now. So again, you don't need to die cut because we're using the piece from our first card. So no need for that. So in the inside, I'm going to add some white for stamping or writing. This measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. On the inside of this card, I put "You're on my mind." And that makes me think, I'm going to ask a favor. If you are, you know, somebody who likes to focus on positive vibes, or you're a prayerful person, there is somebody that is part of my Stampin' Peace community that could really use some extra prayers right now. Somebody that's just struggling to be healthy and having a hard time, and I have told her that I will pray for her, and I'm asking you for your prayers as well for her and any other person that's hurting, especially in May when we're focusing on mental health awareness. If you would do that, I would appreciate it. Now, I'm going to leave this blank because I'm going to give this card away. This is a great card for so many occasions. Birthday, thinking of you, sympathy, congratulations, just a note, just because, anything. So I'm going to leave this blank, and the person who wins this card will then be able to add their own sentiment. Now I'm making one change from my sample, and that is I'm using the same DSP print for the background as I am for the focal point. Okay, just thought I would change it up a little bit. Show you another look. Same card, same elements, just a different look. So this DSP measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And I've taken a plain piece of vellum from the Lovely Layers vellum pack, and I've cut this to, let me think, the white is 4 inches by 2 3/4, so this measures 4 1/4 by 3. And I'm going to layer those together. And then I'm going to add that die cut piece from the first card right in the center. I'm going to put these layers on the center of my card with dimensionals. And the reason for that is with the gray granite and the white, the subtleness of it, by lifting this up on dimensionals, it shows off that vellum layer just a wee bit more. Looks great. And now I need to do the stamping. So I'm using another image, this floral image from the Nature's Prints bundle. And I'm stamping with gray granite ink. And then I will die cut this with the coordinating die from the bundle. Okay, I think I need to move a few of these things out of the way. Got a lot happening here. I think I will add a little bit of washi tape. You know what? You're going to see some washi tape in the holiday catalog as well. I know we had a few months for that to come out, but since I was able to get a sneak peek as a incentive trip achiever, I can share that with you. Okay. Did any of you catch what I was doing? I want to share this tip with you. Whenever, you know how it is when you're searching for the end of your roll of tape, your washi tape, masking tape, whatever. Here's a trick. When you pull it off, before you rip it, angle it to the right, put your thumb there and pull. And then you've got this little notch already there. So it's ready for you to easily find the end the next time. I just thought I was like super brilliant when I figured that out. It just makes life so much easier, right? It's one of those little things in life that really can be thought of as a great big thing because it's so helpful, so useful. And now I'm going to add this to the center of my card, again with, oops, dimensionals. I'm going to use a mini on that small blossom and a regular size dimensional on the large. And then I'll put this right smack in the center. Oops, a little bit. I'll pull it up just a wee bit higher. And if you want to color that in or add a bow for a pop of color, or use a white or even our gray granite baker's twine, you can add a little bow if you want. I'm going to, once again, use the Rustic metallic dots. And I'm actually going to use 4 small ones to frame out that die cut piece. So I'm actually placing these, think of it this way, if these were right angles, true corners, I'm putting the metallic dots right where those corners would be. All right. If you want them in a little bit closer for a different look, closer to the curves, you can do that as well. Either one looks really, really nice and is a fun way. Whoops. Whoops. Let me try that again. Either way is a fun way to finish off your card. There. All right, so there you have it. Thoughts? So initially when we think of the Sun Prince suite, the Sun Prince DSP, we're thinking about all those deep blue colors: Pacific Point, Night of Navy, Starry Sky. But I've made some beautiful cards with that, what do I say, that secondary color of the gray granite. Probably not one of our most popular colors, but oh, I hope it becomes just as popular as those blues, because it is so very, very pretty. So let's review here for a moment. I used the Sun Prince DSP. I believe I told you pages 90 and 91 in the new annual catalog, along with the, and we can pull in all these other dies that we used, along with the Nature's Prince bundle. This is a great die right here. Not just, and it does fit the sentiments in the set, but you can use it with so many of the sentiments from other stamp sets. But I love this die, especially not just because it cuts a pretty frame, but it's also got a layer in there that it embosses the edge just a bit. And then I also used this die from the Painted Labels die, part of that beautiful, was it Pretty Poppies or Painted Poppies stamp set? One of my all-time favorites. All right. Who is interested in winning one of these cards today? I think they're gorgeous. So I hope you love them as much as I do. And you know, I think they work well, masculine and feminine. You could even switch out this flower and just do more of the botanicals, you know, the fern or something like that instead. So I would like you to, yes, Kathy, it is a wonderful combo. Love it very much. If you're interested in winning one of these cards, please, cards. I think I said cars. I don't make enough money to give away cars. I don't know why I said cars, but it's cards, C-A-R-D-S. Gosh, where did that come from? I have no idea. Anyways, if you would like to win one of today's cards made during the Facebook Live, please type the words Nature's Prince in the comments now. Nature's Prince. And I will draw 2 lucky winners from the people who watch the live or the video replay and comment with Nature's Prince. I used to pick other kinds of words, just general, maybe something to do with the day or whatever, but I decided it's been very helpful in teaching people the names of products, even remembering the names of all the products myself, by asking you to comment with the name of a product we use, a featured product in the live. All right, any questions for me today? If you missed Wednesday evening's Facebook Live, you may want to go back and watch it here on Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe. It will be up on my blog either tomorrow or the next day. But in that one, I showed, I believe it's called, gosh, what is it called? Good Feelings, maybe, is the name of this new stamp set where it's all sentiments. And then I used a single stamp from the Flowering Fields stamp set to create the Starburst. But I really love this bright, shiny card. It's just fun, it's bright, it's cheerful, and I think anybody who would receive it would be happy to get it. And certainly it would be something to cheer them up, which we all could use, right? All right, everybody, have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you back here on Stampin' Piece with Mary Knabe, Monday at 2 p.m. Until then, have a fun, happy, blessed weekend, and perhaps get in some fun stamping as well. Bye-bye.